Hi guys, it's me, Keisha Henry. I'm back. Can you believe it? Happy Monday. I am back, and you perhaps noticed that my voice is not like projecting. I can't go woohoo and all of that is because, yes, I've been missing. I had surgery. You perhaps saw my post on Instagram and Facebook 3 weeks ago when I was showing my hospital wrist band. Didn't go too much into detail, and I won't do that here because what I really want to do today is provide you an update from week 7 and 8 of our women's group, the self-esteem and self-improvement group. I'm going to give you the closing overview or closing insight from those last 2 sessions. But before I do that, I do want to mention that I want to thank all of you for your love and support. For those who remembered, a lot of you sent prayers and warm sentiments my way. Thank you so much. Also want to thank Stephanie Semino for helping to carry on the women's group in my absence. So it did not stop. I'm so thankful for that. And the women, they're just super grateful for what Stephanie was able to do when I was absent. So I want to just give my gratitude here because it's been really important to do that. I was sad missing the session that I did, but hey, I got updates and I was able to make the last one, which was a week and a half ago. And so I have to do this update. So I'm really thankful. One more thank you to say that I get to do this. I get to do this every single day. And even in my absence, I still got updates about how things were going, and I still get to participate, in spirit, even though I wasn't here physically. So I really want to just say thank you again and to say I'm so happy I get to do this every day. I do. So with that said, week 7 and 8, so it's a big deal. It was a big deal. Week 7 continued to be an aha, several ahas, and several ability to connect with the formation of the self, several ahas about this identity and perhaps the source. There's a quote that says you can really tell the worth of a thing by judging the source of it. So looking at the source of the formation of the self really came to the fore for all of the women who came. And so week 7 then not only took into the consideration of the prior weeks, but then this identity became stronger in terms of awareness, in terms of, okay, so this is who I became, but this is who I now want to become. And so week 7 then took a look at integration of the newer self, the new parts that were hidden or covered, so to speak, that we helped to uncover in prior sessions and up until week 7. So identification not only of the old self, but also identification of what we want to become, and being able between our time together, what we call between the group sessions, women were able to put into practice. And it was tough. Okay, this is the thing that comes out in groups, is that, oh my gosh, and we did hear it's in week 8. It's over. It's only 8 weeks. We really want more. And let me just say here too, let me just recall, if you recall, I talked about how the last group persons were talking about the feedback from the group. I didn't want it to be longer. We're still hearing that. So I'm going to bring this back to our attention again. So from this identification of the old self and being able now to implement these, new skills, because that's what it is. It's learning skills that were, perhaps were not taught, or perhaps skills that were just, missed, right? We call those missteps in our development. So women are now beginning to put this into action, and they're finding it to be difficult. But of course, this is about when you're skill building, it's not something that happens overnight. And so the women are saying, you know what, this is great. And they're loving that. And so week 7 looked like that. And then week 8 now, right? We took a look at the obstacles for sure. We looked at the lapses. We talked about lapse and relapse, and perhaps what lapse and relapse can look like, especially when you're trying to implement these newer skills into your daily life. Daily life can look like work. It looks like in your parenting. It looks like in your personal beliefs and values and hopes and aspirations. And those are different things, right? So beliefs and values are different things. And we find that in our groups that women, some of those things were in conflict with each other, and a few of them aligned, right? So you find that as they're implementing, this becomes more and more, they become more aware about these values and beliefs that are in conflict and the ones that actually align. So now we're sorting out. So while we're sorting these things out, this is where the obstacles come in. And so the last group, 7 and 8, then we helped women to understand that, hey, you know what? Having these conflicts is normal because you're learning the new self. You're trying to separate the old self and the new self. You're going to have obstacles. And we looked at, interventions, what we call anticipatory guidance then, to help persons to understand, number one, you know what, when you're learning something new, it's going to be difficult, but with practice, it becomes permanent. That was one of the running themes in our workshop, is that practice becomes permanent. I grew up hearing practice becomes perfect, and that's not necessarily true. But what we prefer then is to say practice becomes more permanent, wherein, we're trying to trim the old pathways and, newer pathways, and help our women to create newer pathways. And so that over time, their behaviors and habits become more or less what they want it to be versus what it has been, or have been rather. And so that's week 7 and 8. So what am I saying? If I were to summarize what I just said, week 7 and 8 looked again deeper at identification. Then we looked at the obstacles, values, and beliefs that are in conflict, right? And then, of course, to add to that, or we associate with that, then the implementation, of course, with the practice. So that's week 7 and 8. And it was beautiful. And I want to share here in closing then, so some takeaways of feedback that we heard and we received that we thought was very helpful. We may extend the workshop to 10 weeks instead of 8 weeks, because we're finding that the information is, they find the information to be very enriching. And so we want to continue to enrich the lives of women. And so we're now looking to expand the group to perhaps 10 weeks rather than 8 weeks. And so that's one thing. And also, yeah, that was the biggest thing that came out of it. The women were able to look at their post self-esteem inventory, and what an increase in self-esteem. The numbers were lower in terms of the negative aspects of their personalities, and it was beautiful to see the outcome to be what it was, and that's what we're hoping for. So I want to thank you for staying with us from week 1 to week 8, and I want to say here that we're now moving into the summer, and we have our emerging adults who they're looking to actually have their own group. So more to come about that. But again, thank you for being with us, and thank you for supporting NBHI's Women's Self-Esteem and Self-Improvement Group. We're going to continue to do more. Stephanie and I were already looking to fall, and you're going to see information coming out about the group very shortly, so persons who are interested can get enrolled for our fall group. So with that said, thank you. It's good to be back. I appreciate you. Bye, guys.